In terms of starting the carnivore diet, you see a lot of conflicting advice out there on there. Many people talk about how you should gradually tone back the amount of plants you're eating by half week by week to avoid things like oxalate dumping. But there are some other people that have more extreme personalities. They need to be all in on something. So what would your advice be to someone who's watching this and going, you know what, that Ken Berry guy, he makes a lot of sense. I want to start this thing. How should I
Yeah,
go about it?
yeah, it depends on your personality, in my opinion. If you're a teetotaler, I think there's, well, first of all, let's just say this and get this on the record. There is absolutely nothing dangerous or harmful or bad about a carnivore diet. Literally nothing. Okay. So, with that assumption, now we say, okay, let's look at your personality style. If you're an all in kind of guy, fine. Go through your pantry and your fridge and throw away all the plant food, fill them back up with animal foods, and start tomorrow morning. It's perfectly safe and fine. Some people are not teetotalers, they're moderators. They have to wean down slowly, or it's just not sustainable for them. And in that case, I think it's totally fine that each week you're ramping up the animal foods you eat, ramping down the plant foods that you eat. Literally, I don't care how long it takes somebody to adopt a proper human diet, which includes carnivore and the lion diet. What my goal is to get everybody on planet Earth on a proper human diet. I don't care if they do it overnight. I don't care if it takes 6 months for them to get there. The degree to which you improve your diet, that is the degree to which your health is going to improve. Okay. I think you're going to see noticeable benefits if you stop eating an ultra processed standard American diet and convert to a low carb diet that's full of real whole foods only. You're going to improve your health if you do that, right? That's why a lot of people, when they go from the standard American shit diet to a vegan diet, raw food, real whole food plant based, they feel better. Yes, because you're going to remove a ton of inflammation from all of the crap, the highly processed grains and legumes, but you're not going to sustain that health long term. You've got to keep eliminating and you've got to keep adding the real human food in. So when you go from low carb to keto, that's going to, by definition, mean that you've increased your meat intake, right? And decreased your intake of other plant foods. You're going to feel better. When you go ketovore, once again, you've bumped up the meat and you've decreased the plants. You're going to feel better. And so if people need to go down that ladder, I'm perfectly happy with that. But there's nothing dangerous about switching to carnivore overnight. No physical danger, mental danger whatsoever, but you might have sugar withdrawals that are pretty rough.
Now we see in the wild with every animal, I should say, that they all eat the exact same thing. Every single species, they all eat the same foods. It's not, hey, you're growing, you eat this type of plant, we'll eat this meat over here. But when it comes to humans, a lot of people say, no, the proper human diet is not for me. Do you think that everyone, including younger children, can do the carnivore diet?
Every human of every age and with any known medical condition is going to benefit from eating a proper human diet. For many people, their place on the spectrum of a proper human diet is carnivore or lion diet. Maybe for just a while, maybe 3 months, maybe for the rest of their life. The only way to know is to try it. There is no human being on planet Earth who should not eat a proper human diet, regardless of what medical condition you have, regardless of what your doctor told you, regardless of what your dietitian or your psychiatrist told you. Your health will improve if you eat a proper human diet consistently enough for long enough.
If you're enjoying this interview and you want to see more carnivore related content like this, consider subscribing down below. The more subscribers we get, the more big interviews with special guests such as Ken Berry that we can do. What are your thoughts on organ meat? A lot of people are under the impression that to get every single nutrient, they need to be eating a certain amount of liver. And I think what a lot of people do is they end up over consuming liver and they get things like maybe if it's just to a small degree, things like vitamin A toxicity, those sorts of things. So do you
Yeah.
think that people should be consuming liver on a carnivore diet?
Yes, absolutely. Every single example that we have in biology, the animals are eating the internal organs. And if they can get to the brain, they're eating that. If they can get to the bone marrow, they're eating that. I think we should all eat nose to tail. I have zero fear of anybody developing vitamin A toxicity from eating a reasonable amount of the liver of a domesticated animal. Okay, now don't eat polar bear liver. There's documentation that it's too high in vitamin A. There's a couple of fish that the Japanese eat that their livers are far too high in vitamin A. I don't recommend eating those things, but the liver of a cow, sheep, goat, venison, pig, chicken, goose, duck, there I have scoured the literature because I keep hearing this vitamin A toxicity scare story. And when I look at the literature, I can find multiple examples of people who develop vitamin A toxicity taking a vitamin A supplement.
Mm.
But I can't find a single case of somebody who didn't have a mental illness and they were eating, a pound of cow liver a day for months and months and months. I can't find a single example of somebody who ate liver once a week or twice a week or thrice a week. Oh my God, they developed vitamin A toxicity. That is just not in the case report literature. It would be there. There would be some doctor somewhere who had some lady who was, she just loved liver and she was eating 8 ounces, 7 times a week and developed a vitamin A toxicity. I can't find that case report. If anybody can find it, please send it to me and I will adjust my belief and my recommendations. But I think everybody should eat 2 to 4 ounces of liver 2 or 3 times a week, whether it's cod liver, chicken liver, duck liver. You can eat it in any form. It can be pate. It can just be the raw liver. It can be a liver that's breaded with pork panko and fried in butter. I don't care, but I think liver is such a multivitamin, multi-mineral that many people could eliminate a lot of because what you see a lot of times is people on a carnivore diet taking 10 or 12 supplements a day. It's like, first of all, why are you doing that? You're wasting a ton of money. If you just eat 2 ounces of liver 3 times a week, you could throw 3/4 of those supplements in the garbage. You wouldn't even need them. So why not? A lot of people hate the taste of liver, and I totally get that. I don't love liver, but I like it well enough. If it's cooked properly, I can eat it 2 or 3 times a week, which is exactly what I do. But I hate it when people get too evangelical about the carnivore diet and they're like, no, it should be muscle meat only, or it should be, a pound of organs a day. No, come on, come on, come on. Everybody calm down. Carnivore is not a religion. It is a movement, but it's not a religion. Okay. We don't have to be fanatical about any of this stuff. When in doubt, look to the nutrition literature. Much of the modern nutrition literature is complete and utter foolishness. The nutrition literature I find the most helpful is from a decade, 5 decades, 10 decades in the past. That's very often the nutrition literature that you're like, okay, that makes perfect sense. And if you search that literature, you're not going to find anybody who ate a reasonable amount of domesticated animal liver. You're not going to find any cases of vitamin A toxicity or any other toxicity. I'm sorry, it's just not there.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that it's a necessity to have liver then? Because obviously many people just eat muscle meat and they do fine. Do you think a liver is a necessity for the carnivore diet, or it's just a helpful addition?
No, I don't necessarily think it's a necessity because I know many carnivores who they've eaten only muscle, meat, and fat from the periphery of the animal. They don't eat any organs and haven't done so for 10, 15, 20 years. And they're doing just fine. Now, I don't know if they're taking supplements or not. All I can go by is what they say. Often they don't mention that. So I don't know what's going on in the background. But yeah, I don't think it's a necessity, especially if you're including egg yolks from pastured chickens, because keep in mind, every egg yolk contains the liver and the brain and the spleen and every other internal organ of the chicken, the building blocks of that. So if you're eating egg yolks every day, you're effectively eating liver indirectly. But I don't think it's a necessity.